It was a dark and stormy night. The wind howled outside as rain pattered against the windows. Inside the house, it was quiet and still, too quiet. I had just settled in for the evening, looking forward to a relaxing night alone while my family was away. As I heated up dinner in the microwave, the light suddenly flickered and went out. "Great," I muttered, feeling my way to the drawer to grab a flashlight. I flicked it on and surveyed the dark kitchen. The microwave clock was blinking 12 o'clock. The power must have gone out. As I made my way to the living room, I couldn't shake an uneasy feeling. The flashlight cast eerie shadows down the hallway. I checked my phone. No service. With the storm raging outside, I knew there was no chance a repair crew would be fixing the power tonight. Sitting in the dark living room, I tried to calm my nerves. It was just a power outage, I told myself. Still, the creaking and settling of the old house put me on edge. The wind continued to howl outside, making strange noises against the roof and walls. I began to imagine odd sounds coming from inside the house as well. Little creaks and clicks that seemed to get louder. I strained my ears, heart pounding. Suddenly, a scraping sound came from the kitchen, like furniture being dragged across the floor. The hairs on my neck stood up. "It's nothing," I whispered to myself, but I no longer felt alone in the darkness. Gripping the flashlight, I slowly made my way towards the kitchen. The beam of light pierced through the blackness, casting looming shadows. Turning the corner, the flashlight illuminated nothing. Everything was as I left it. Still, the uneasy feeling in my gut remained. As I stood in the kitchen, I became aware of a new sound coming from down the hall. A slow, dragging shuffle was approaching. Paralyzed in fear, I stood frozen as the shambling footsteps drew closer in the darkness. The beam of my flashlight began to shake as a shape emerged down the hall. Moving slowly, awkwardly, it was coming for me. The figure slowly shambled into the beam of my flashlight. I gasped as the light revealed my brother, home early from his trip. "Geez, you scared me," I said, hand on my chest as I tried to calm my breathing. "Sorry, the power outage killed my phone battery so I couldn't call ahead," he said. "I tried knocking, but I guess you couldn't hear me over the storm." I shook my head, laughing with relief now that my frightening imagination was proven wrong. But my brother's expression remained grim. "What's wrong?" I asked. "You need to get out of here now," he said. "I was trying to warn you. This house, it isn't what you think." I stared at him confused. "What are you talking about?" He stepped closer, voice low. "Do you know why this place was so cheap? Why it stood vacant all these years?" I shook my head slowly. "Decades ago, a family was murdered here," he said. "In this very kitchen. Their spirits are trapped, and they don't take kindly to visitors." I felt a chill pass through me as I glanced around the shadowy kitchen. Just then, the flashlight flickered. When it came back on, 3 ghostly figures had appeared behind my brother. My heart dropped as their cold, dead eyes stared through me. This was no longer an empty house. The murdered spirits were here, awakened, seeking revenge, and we had just become their next victims. The 3 apparitions hovered silently behind my brother. Their pale, ghostly forms cast an eerie glow in the dark kitchen. I stood paralyzed in fear. My brother slowly turned around and came face to face with the ghosts. He let out a cry of shock, stumbling back. The spirits did not move, simply staring at us with cold, blank eyes. "What do they want?" I whispered shakily. "I'm not sure," my brother replied. He took a cautious step towards the ghosts. "We're sorry to intrude," he said gently. "We don't want to harm you." The ghosts gave no reaction. Then slowly they raised their hands in unison, pointing one long bony finger each directly at me. I gasped, clutching the flashlight tightly. Why were they singling me out? My mind raced. What had I done to provoke them? "Please, we come in peace," my brother pleaded with the apparitions. "Just let us leave safely." Still, the ghosts kept their empty gazes fixed upon me. Then they began floating eerily towards me, hands still outstretched. I backed away until I hit the kitchen counter. There was nowhere to run. The ghosts approached relentlessly, their spectral chill filling the air. Just before they reached me, everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the living room floor. Pale morning light shone through the windows. The power must have come back on. My brother was shaking my shoulder, his face flooded with relief. "You passed out cold last night," he said. "But the ghosts, they're gone." I shuddered, recalling the chilling encounter. We were fortunate to escape with our lives. One thing was certain: we would not be staying another night in this house of horrors ever again.